I didn't think Chris Demm would be here today, all right?
Yeah, Biggie kind of tipped me off to some side action
Yeah.
in the building.
Yeah, Dave and I were pretty firm.
I'd have lost money on this one.
Yeah, me too. I said, he ain't good. Well, on a Friday, he didn't feel well.
And I guarantee you, Chris Demm probably would have thought, "Oh, Biggie thinks I'm not going to be there."
But you did.
I did. I said, "Oh, he'll be here."
Yeah, he stood by him.
You did.
Yeah, everything is it's topsy-turvy.
The reason was
I'm not like some shows in the building.
take a Friday.
Well, if we're going to
You know
take
what?
Thursday.
Take a Friday.
Let me say this too.
Yeah.
In our group text message last night,
Yeah.
Chris Demm started it, and I was the first one, the only one that said, "How are you feeling?" And he even responded with, "Thank you for asking."
Just fine. I knew he wouldn't want to be bothered.
Sure.
Okay, you don't bother someone when they're at home.
It's like the Hawaiian predatory land buyers.
Thank you. Thank you. You don't want to be bothered at that time, right? So
There's a time to pull back.
there's a time to pull back. I pulled back. I said, I'm not going to ask him how he's doing. When he's ready, he'll let me know. So we got a text from his wife 2 nights ago saying, it's late, but he's nauseous and he's not going to be in, which was yesterday. And a lot of people said, oh, food poisoning. I've had food poisoning 100 times and this and that.
Well, of course, that's the first thing you think of. What did you eat?
But I don't believe that people really have food poisoning when they say they have food poisoning. I think you can have a stomach ache or a virus or whatever, and it passes through you in 24 hours, or you're, feel bad, vomit, diarrhea. But food poisoning, I think, takes 5 days of puking. I think that is food poisoning.
I think I've only had true food poisoning once in college. And
Yeah.
West Coast Bob and I went to the same little sandwich shop in Richmond,
Yeah.
Stuffy's. And we each had our sandwiches, and we both got mayo on our sandwiches. The next day, all I could do was go to the toilet,
Well, that's
top
probably,
and bottom.
and it lasted for a while.
It lasted for 4 or 5 days.
That's
Wow.
food
Okay.
poisoning.
And so I
All
called
right.
him after 4 or 5 days,
Yep.
and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" He goes, "Man, I've been, puking and pooping for
Same
4 or 5
thing.
days."
That's food poisoning. You
Yeah,
both got
we had
it.
bad mayo.
Yeah.
Now, see, that's why I thought maybe food poisoning, though, because I said you were a more adventurous eater
All right.
than, because I
Right.
could see he's out the night before. The chef's like, "This is undercooked sea urchin," doused in a 4-day-old applesauce
Yep.
that's been in the sun to give it, extra flavor. Now,
He's right about that.
So
I'm
that's
just
why.
trying to think of a wine pairing.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And that's what. And again, see, we had some back and forth.
we did.
You said, "Oh, he wouldn't go out and do this on a work night," and I'm like, "Yeah, he would."
Yeah, okay, you're right. And
I even said I bet it could have been a
Okay.
wine pairing dinner.
Yeah, and I said to Biggie, now I did give Biggie some credit on this because I was with you once at a lunch where you said at the end of it, "Tell Tom I loved those heirloom tomatoes." And Tom was the chef, and of course I'm sitting there like, sitting. What? And
That's a
then
what?
Tom comes out later with a brown bag full of heirloom tomatoes and gives Christian a huge hug. And you take these, take them.
Yeah.
And I'm,
Eat your French fries.
I don't know what stopping for French fries on the way home.
You've got to come back on Friday. I've received some prepubescent sea cucumbers.
All right.
that I'm gonna serve.
He's right.
With a scalloped potato.
That sounds like a white wine.
Now,
Yes.
my
very light.
point was that I think the food poisoning and migraine are the two most overused things because migraines are so serious, and people when they get a headache go, "Oh, I got a migraine."
I think that's probably accurate.
yeah,
I don't
think
think
because
that's
the actual
Yes, it's different.
conditions are very serious.
That's
If
exactly.
you've
right.
ever had a real migraine,
Exactly.
you
right.
know.
I don't think I ever have.
I never
I
have.
know I haven't because you
Bad
vomit.
headaches.
You vomit with a migraine.
I got them as teenagers,
Did you?
big time.
Did you really?
Yeah, I couldn't. Because you can't truly. You can't move. You can't open
Are
your
you time
eyes.
shaming?
I'm so sorry. I was time shaming
Yeah.
you. Did you really get a migraine?
Even then,
It's just a bad headache. It's not a migraine.
I don't know that you really had a
you
migraine.
can't open your eyes. You can't leave a dark
Yeah,
room.
light is just brutal.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you had a migraine, but
Well,
I'm going to
even
give
then-
it to you.
Is that when your first period hit?
I'm going to.
That was my body telling me you don't want to do this.
Unfortunately, it's one of those things where women get like 90% of the migraines, right?
Is that the
Oh, yeah.
case?
Yes, that's
It's not
true.
even close.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Gigantic disparity.
Does your wife has migraines, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Or has?
Yes.
You think they'd give 90% of the migraines?
Okay,
Oh,
we're not going to
wow.
sit here.
Phil Silva.
You call them like you see them.
This is Let me say this. These comments are sending me back down memory lane because
You're back to the 50s.
it's the same thing my father said to me.
Oh, yeah.
Quit being a
Oh, yeah.
and opening my blinds. Get up.
Right.
Get up.
The light, it burns.
What are you on your period? Dad, I think something's wrong.
Your headaches ain't no worse than mine.
That's right. I know exactly right. Some sports dirt here today. Oh, and actually, before we get to that, an interesting note. It reminded me of some old audio we had. A woman has found a police came to her house because someone was literally living under her house and had been for months. She heard noises but never realized exactly what it was in California. And apparently the guy had been down there for a long time. Her name is Ashley Gardino, and she said, I had to call cops to get him off the property. She kept hearing something, thought it was an animal. When they came out, they did indeed find a man living underneath her house.
Did you sleep there, or?
Yes. He would leave during the day.
Is there plumbing?
She'd go to work. He'd leave during the day. There was not plumbing. He was living like in the crawl space, like down there.
So unfinished.
Unfinished area under the house.
So it's 6 o'clock in the morning, and we woke up because we heard noise. Oh, here comes the police. Came outside, I thought somebody was on a roof, and I see the grass moving, and it's feeling around a dirty ass arms, feeling around this hole outside. There is a whole man living here for months, living underneath the house. Imagine being half awake and seeing an arm, a dirty arm.
A dirty arm came out from under her house because he
Dirty ass arm.
Gross.
She's really concerned about the arm.
A dirty ass arm coming out of my house. She said she had heard it, but she never considered that it might be a guy. She thought it was
Of course not.
a raccoon or something living under there. And finally, they got him.
I mean, most crawl spaces aren't. I mean, I think we may have a tiny
small.
padlock on ours. But,
Yeah.
But I mean, how often do you check?
Right. Who
As
would
little
know?
as possible.
How would you know? Oh, my God. Is there a worse place to go in your house?
It depends on how I've been under them, but they always get smaller towards the end.
Yeah.
Like almost even with the with your front yard. No desire.
That is the
I
truth.
know there are people, and I admire them, the ones that have to go in there and do it and get out there.
That's hard labor.
Listen.
Yes.
We've had calls before that say, next time you go into your crawl space, and we always say, well, obviously you don't know the show very well. None of us.
you kidding
Next
me?
time we go in the crawl space.
I'll show you the door.
But what it reminded me of was when the guy had the peeping Tom under his bed. This is some of my favorite audio we've ever played.
yes.
A guy was giving a news interview locally here, and he had found a peeping Tom that had snuck into his house and was literally under his bed. And
Which was being used.
At the time.
Not for sleeping.
And
Wink, wink.
We very rarely get this, but it was the raw audio. And he said to the reporter, look, I'm having sex with my girlfriend.
The reporter was very cautious about
Yeah.
the adult nature of the conversation.
She had to coach him on what to say because he looked under the bed, saw the guy, and chased him down the stairs and told it in a very... I thought he did a good job telling.
I was upstairs having sex. How do I explain that?
You don't have to say that. You can say that you were upstairs in your room in the bed. So I'm in my bed.
In my bed laying with my girl?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now the reporter's like, okay, no, you don't
I'm laying with my girl.
say lay it with your girl. I think just continue.
I was in my bed laying with my girl.
All right, cut.
Flexing her down.
Cut.
And I heard some stumbling or rumbling or whatever under my bed, and I thought it was my dog. And I remembered I locked him in my cage because, he'd be up there bothering me and stuff with my girl.
He walked in the bedroom when he was already in bed.
That's his friend, by the way. This is a new angle on it. The friend was there and said, yeah, I chased him down the street, too, once he came running out of the house. He's like, he followed him right into the bedroom.
With the door. He opened the door and went under the
I
bed.
was doing my thing.
Right.
Yeah. And I looked underneath there, and I seen a pair of eyes staring at me. And I was like, what the crap is this? This ain't normal. So I grabbed him by his throat, started slinging him around, dude. I was uppercutting him, beating him left and right, and threw him downstairs. And I was like, and then I started calling the police. Then after I hung up, I started chasing around the neighborhood, so I caught him again, and I put him in a guillotine sleeper hold.
He took care of business.
Are you
he
still
did.
aroused
Tell
at
you
this
that.
point? You still having your erection?
Yeah.
I yanked the condom off.
Yeah.
Once I got outside, but
You want to make sure
I was
you
thinking it had been girl on top. I'd have never seen him. Please.
laying with my old lady.
I'm laying on my girl.
You want to make sure you knew that.
Oh yeah.
If this was a really good morning show here, we'd get these people together for a reunion because it's been
Yes.
15 to 20 years.
You're right.
Get all the principles
Even the
back.
reporter.
Yeah, and then they said later, I had forgotten this nugget. At the end, he paid his girlfriend another great compliment.
What is going through your mind when you figure out there is a dude under my bed?
Well, he was like, as soon as I saw him, his eyes he started bugging out. He's like, no, man, no. I can't speak a lot of English because he's Hispanic or whatever. So, like, when I dragged him out, his pants and his belt was undone. Everything. I mean, the whole 9 yards is pretty.
So you can imagine he was having a good time also.
Yeah. Boy, he wasn't out afterwards.
Right. That is nuts. What are your friends and what does everybody say about it?
I thought he was kidding.
Yeah, they said he was trying to see your girlfriend naked or something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame him.
Yeah, I'd sit under her bed and crank it too.
Yeah. You seen her?
All right, I think we got all we need here.
Sure.
What are their friends saying? He's sitting right there, his friend.
I thought it was pretty cool. That's what the friends
Running around the neighborhood naked, running this guy.
Cool. Wow. Good stuff.
Flinging and flying.
Good stuff.
Just slap and tickle.
Yep.
You never heard anything like that before. The sports dirt today, I never heard anything like this before either. There is of course, the U.S. Open starts here soon. It's the final major of the year. It should be coming up in September. And they play as a tune-up the Cincinnati Open. A lot of the good players.
And the Winston-Salem Open.
And the Winston-Salem Open, that's right. And the players are in both those cities. Cincinnati is hosting a tournament right now. A guy named Tsitsipas is there. Now, he's a good player. I've heard of him. A good male player. And he was playing apparently a crowd favorite named Ben Shelton. And it was a very close match.
Well, I've heard of Chichipa. I've never heard of Shelton.
Shelton, I think, is a
Is he
local.
an American?
I think he's American. I think he's from Ohio.
Because I think, was it Stefano Chichipa? He's from Greece.
Yeah,
but
that's right. Great player.
Superstar and a very good-looking man.
Top 10 player, I would think. So Tsitsipas is playing this guy, Shelton, and I know he's American, and I think he's from local because the crowd, they said, was completely on Shelton's side. So Tsitsipas is playing him. Now, he winds up winning in a very close match, 7-6, 7-6. But while he is serving, there's a woman sitting behind him who continues to make a noise like a bee buzzing. So, like when he throws the ball up in the air, the woman goes zzz, and makes Tsitsipas think that there's a bee around him.
He's swatting.
He's swatting at the
imaginary bees.
That's correct. So he goes over to the chair umpire and he says, "She's trying to sound like a bee." And the chair umpire's like, "What? What do you mean?" He says,
"It's not in the rule book."
But he's making a bee sound.
What's wrong?
There's a person imitating a bee behind me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I'll take care.
But it's a buzz right before I serve. Do you think that's?
No, that's
okay?
not good. That's not good. Yeah.
Imitating a bee, that is a new one.
That's the announcer. That's the commentator. Imitating a bee. Mm-hmm. We've not heard of this before.
A bit of a surprising one, that one. Maybe taking matters into his own hands, yeah?
He's going over to talk to the woman now.
He's right in the crowd's
So he knows
face.
who it is.
He turns around.
He's asking.
He's saying, "Which one of you?" And they're all like, "Not me."
But the's one hand in the crowd.
Right, and
a Chris Kelly protege puts her hand up and points a finger down at the woman in the front.
That one hits her.
Every time.
She's the bee.
When he gets ready to serve,
she's buzzing.
Do you know who is?
It has never happened in my career.
No, that's the first time it happens.
I know they're supporting the.
What's happening?
I know they're speaking to you. No, they're imitating a bee. They're buzzing.
But do you know who is exactly?
It's the lady.
Now the crowd's getting. Okay, look, come on,
serve.
Let's go.
We're here for
Come on,
tennis.
Tsitsipas. Now there's a chicken.
Now what's going on?
Chicken sound.
At first it'd be, now it's chicken.
I will ask.
She needs to go.
Yeah, we're not gonna stop live, but I'm
gonna
ask her to stop.
But I'm about to serve, and then all I hear is this.
She won't. If she does, you come back to me. But I'm gonna.
So
events, that's for sure.
If she does it again, you need to come back to me.
Up.
Yeah, and
Lock her up.
Usually, if the player says have someone removed, they're removed, right?
I don't believe she was though. I didn't
That's
get
not
to
the
end
sense
of it.
I got.
No, she stayed, and now he won the match. This is a couple of days ago. The woman has apologized. She said, "That's poor sportsmanship on my part.
Too late.
I was cheering for Ben Shelton.
Too little, too late. Big woman.
No, she was not a big woman.
I said bee woman.
Oh, I thought you said big woman.
It could have gone.
So
in
sorry.
fairness,
I'm so sorry.
In fairness, it could have gone either way.
That's what I thought, Dave. Sometimes you say that. Oh my God, we had a moment yesterday. Oh, Chris Demm missed this yesterday.
Big bee woman.
That big bee woman.
In Match Game yesterday,
yes.
we had a
Look. Even fat girls can buzz.
Okay.
You saw that video?
That's shame.
Unneeded fat shaming.
Yeah.
I thought you said, was she a great big woman?
No,
but no,
bee woman.
no, she was a
Bee
woman. I would
woman.
say she was a petite woman.
That makes it even worse.
Well, Sisyphus.
I expect it from a big woman.
I wanted to say this. Chris Demm missed this yesterday. You were out, and BB Shea filled in for Match Game. This is one of the Match Game puzzles from yesterday. And I mentioned to everybody on the actual game when this was played in 1978, poor Valerie Bertinelli was triggered by this because here was the Match Game puzzle. Fat Frida's husband said, "My wife's skin is really beginning to drop. I just realized the dimple on her knee is actually her blank." And poor Valerie Bertinelli had to stop tape. She said, I. And that was 1978 when that happened. And Valerie
You could make fun of anybody.
Exactly. And Gene Rayburn had to come around and put his arm around her and said, "Don't worry, sweetheart. You can do this."
Gene loved every minute of it.
My God.
She